Okay, right then, Simon. Now it's time here to win our big quiz around the world in 8 minutes. Up for grabs this week, a bus ride around central London with or without a mask, depending on which day of the week it is. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Super, smashing, great. I'll be asking you 10 questions, and if you get most of them right, you'll be off in your very own red London bus, because nobody else will be on there with you, and it's going to be chocked full of coronavirus, as we call it here on the show now, the Woo Flu. Are you ready?
Ready.
Here we go.
Ready.
Question 1. The Leeds to Lewisham in southeast London. It's a distance of 173 miles, but which is quicker? Public transport, and we include planes in this, or the car? Planes, trains, or automobiles? Which is quicker?
Car to Leeds, I reckon that's probably about four plus London. Are we going at peak time?
I've just done an average. Let's say not. Let's say not.
That's about 6 hours plane. Well, you have to get to Heathrow or Gatwick. I would say train.
Well, it wasn't the last time I did the journey on a wedding on a Sunday, but according to AA Route Finder, yes, you are correct. The train takes 3 hours, 5 minutes. The car, 3 hours, 57 minutes. And according to AA Route Finder, the plane is only an hour and a half, but we're banking on an hour either end to get to and from Gatwick to your destination of Lewisham. So you're correct. The train wins it, although probably not on a Sunday, because the last time I did a wedding in Leeds and I came back on the train, it took me 6 hours. Right, question 2. The capital of, here we go, the Scottish capital, Edinburgh, or as we like to say in Britain, Edinburgh, to the land of Newquay Brown, fishes on dishes, feats and pub car parks, YA man, namely Newcastle. Which is quicker, plane, trains, or automobiles?
Planes, trains, or automobiles. It's not that far. I'll
give you a clue. It's 92 miles by train, 120 miles by car.
On that basis, I would go with train.
Well done. Another win. Yes, of course, it was the train. The train takes 1 hour 36 from town centre to town centre. The car is 2 hours 21.
Wow.
So that's a real nightmare journey in the car. Okay, now for the British capital. We're going for London, Twickenham in southwest London, to the British Museum in Leafy, Knightsbridge. Is it quicker by car, public transport? Although you can probably rule out a plane as it's only 14 miles. Which is quicker?
Twickenham to Battersea. I could get a helicopter from Battersea.
You could.
But then no, you wouldn't find anywhere to land. It would be, I'm going to go for the car.
Well done, you're correct again. It is only 14 miles, 42 minutes by car. Do you want to have a guess? The bus and the train, because you can't just get a train from one to the other. You've got a bus and a train.
So you'd have to get either a bus. I would say you'd have to get a train to at least Clapham Junction. I would say an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah, actually, well done. You're almost an hour and 15. Almost on it there. That shows your knowledge of London. Yes, last time I took the family to the British Museum in Leafy, Knightsbridge. And yes, it was the quickest way was to drive and then just pay for parking, because it was going to be an hour.
Or use French number plates.
I always say, Mary, je suis sur le holiday, vacances avec mon femme, mon femme ici. Yes, officer. Okay, now here we go. We're off to the colonies now and to America. Which is quicker, public transport or the car, when traveling from Atlanta, Georgia, to the northern Floridian city of Jacksonville? The distance is 346 miles directly. Oh, no, sorry. The cars are 346 miles. I imagine the plane is slightly more.
Now, in America, planes are probably better than buses and trains. So I'm going to go for the planes on this one.
Woo! Correct. You are correct. Doing well so far. 4 out of
Yay!
4. So, from Atlanta, the capital of Georgia, to the armpit of Florida, Jacksonville, 346 miles by car. Takes 4 hours 35 by car. The train, 8 hours 10. I don't know where that's got to go. By plane, 1 hour 20. That doesn't include getting in or getting out. But I really, even so, even if it's an hour either side, I think the plane has it. So well done.
Or your 2-week quarantine afterwards.
Obviously, I don't know whether the Floridians, yes, have a quarantine for people coming from Georgia. No, we've seen that footage of the people on the beach in Florida. They couldn't care less. Don't take away my... You can keep your masks, just don't take away my guns. Okay, we're heading to the continent now, the continent of Europe, and we travel from the capital of Germany, Berlin, to that of Poland, namely Warsaw, Napoleon's and Hitler's favourite route. Which is faster, public transport?
Tank.
I was going to say, the humble car, and no, Simon, we won't take the time of a Panzer tank. We're far too PC on the show for Second World War jokes. Mine had, don't mention the war. It's a distance of 356 miles, which is quicker, plane, train, or automobile.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, you can't get a plane that goes there. I would say probably plane, but only just.
Let me check. Yes, you are correct.
Oh.
The winning time is the plane. The plane takes 1 hour and 10 minutes. The car is 5 hours 42. The train, 9 hours. Where that goes via, I don't know. The train
Scotland.
is 9 hours. It's very interesting. Crossing the borders in Europe, and I think it must be a remnant of the war, trains are very difficult. My wife used to live in Haute-Savoie in the French Alps, and it's like a 30-mile journey from there to Geneva in Switzerland, just across the border. You couldn't catch a train. You had to get the bus. And I think that's about making it very inaccessible. So people like the little man with the dodgy moustache and the nice suit in World War II didn't find it too easy to just invade countries, although he sort of did in the end, but that's due to the fact that the French were useless. Moving swiftly on, now we head down under to the Australians, to the colonies again, Perth on the west coast of Australia to the capital Sydney on the east. It's a journey of more than 2,000 miles. Which is faster, the car, the plane, the train, or the bush kangaroo?
I don't think Skippy would have done 2,000 miles. Yeah, what's that, Skip? Who's down a well? I would say it's probably easier to go by plane.
You are correct, Amundo, once again. Right, this is the best one in the world. I caught a train once from Sydney to Melbourne, and I felt like I'd been sold. I felt like I was going to a death camp. It was a 12-hour train journey. Here we go. So let's have a look. Now, the plane takes the trophy, a shade over 4 hours flight. The car is pretty bad. If you shared the driving, you could do the car in 42 hours. 42 hours, that's with no stops.
No comfort breaks and nothing.
No, you would literally have you would have to be peeing into a plastic bottle as you drove along. The journey is another 500 extra miles by car, so that's 2,500 miles. So the plane is 4 hours. The train, you ready for the train? Yeah. 3 days. 3 days by train to go from
3 days.
3 days. You are closer. Perth is closer to Jakarta in Indonesia than it is to Sydney. So it'd probably be easier to get to Jakarta than go to your capital city. And when I was last in Perth, I remember phoning up. It was the very final days of where I used to have burner phones. And I would it makes me sound like an international drug dealer. I wasn't. And I would buy a local SIM card and put it into the phone and then activate it. And they used to say, well, you can only activate it between 9 and 6. And I was like looking at the clock in Perth going, well, it's 4:30, fine. And I dial up and it says our offices are now closed. And I went, well, of course they are. They are closed in Sydney because it's a different flipping time zone. That's how far away Perth is from Sydney. So, mate, you've got it so far. You are 6 out of 6. Let's try and keep this going.
Ooh.
Off to the west coast of Scotland, namely the Outer Hebrides. We're going from Stornoway in the North Isle of Lewis. That's where Donald Trump's mum is from. Scotland, great people, terrible food. So it's the north of Stornoway, right in the north, to Castlebay in the south on the Isle of Barra. So this is basically an archipelago, a string of islands that goes all the way down the outskirts of Scotland, the Outer Hebrides, runs along the west coast of Scotland. It's a total distance of 145 miles. Which is quicker, the plane, train, or the automobile?
I don't think you'd be able to drive it as easily. Planes.
We are including ferries because it is a string of islands. You are going to need to get on ferries.
I would go for propeller plane.
If you had your own private plane, that probably would be the correct. But I'm going to have to say to this because we were talking cars versus public transport. So the public transport would be a regular plane. By car, 145 miles is going to take you 6 hours and 11 minutes. By car and ferry. This is we're talking A and B roads here, no motorways. No trains at all. The bus is 21 hours.
What?
Right? 21 hours, or that's 145 miles. Or you can fly. The flight is 8 hours, but you go via Glasgow. So you do this huge triangle to fly via Glasgow from Stornoway. And then from Glasgow to the Isle of Barra and Castlebay. Yes.
Wow.
And that triangle journey is 319 miles. So I'm afraid you don't get it, but you're still doing well. 6 out of 7. Okay. Now we say we're off to the Far East, and we say arigato to Japan. And the route from the capital city, Tokyo, to Osaka in the south is a little over 600 miles. Which is going to be the fastest, the car or public transport?
I would think that the Japanese have the secret weapon, so they probably have the bullet train, don't they?
They do have the bullet train.
Which goes like at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So I would go for public transport, train.
You can fly. The flight is an hour and a half. The bullet train is 3 hours, and the car is 6 hours. So the car is out.
Okay.
I'm going to say we're going to give you that because I think the problem is getting to and from Tokyo and to and from Osaka Airport is probably an hour to an hour and a half. So let's give it. Let's give it. The bullet train has it. We're going to give you the bullet train. That's just a little over 3 hours. I think from centre to centre, the bullet train has it. Depending on delays. Right, where are we going now? We're off to South America, and we say, or Latin America, I should say. I apologize to our viewers in Mexico. We say hola to Mexico, and we're going from their capital city, Mexico City, to Puerto Vallarta in Jalisco on the Pacific coast. Car, bus, plane, train, automobile, or burro, which is donkey in Spanish, I believe.
That's a fair distance.
600. Let me say, 550 miles. This one. So you're going from the center of Mexico to the Pacific coast. It's a long journey.
In that case, I would go for plane because it avoids those border people.
We're correct. You are well done. You are right there. Yes, the plane is an hour and 30 minutes. The bus is 12 hours 10 minutes. There is no train, and it's sorry, did I write? Yes, bus is 12 hours. The driving is 10 hours 30 minutes, I should say. And in Mexico, it's muy bueno to take the plane at 1 hour 34, and obviously far likely to meet members of the cartel along the way. Yes. Ready for your final question? So far we've got a 8 out of 9, doing well. We've saved the most romantic journey for the last. What is the best form of transport from Seascale near the Sellafield nuclear plant on the west coast of England, on the west coast of England, I should say, to sunny Hartlepool on the east coast where the inviting warm waters of the North Sea await you. A distance of 134 miles from shitty Irish Sea to shitty North Sea, cold all the way. Which is going to be quicker? Is it going to be quicker to take the train, the plane, or the automobile?
I don't know. I think cars haven't really won many of these, so I'm going to go for cars, just on that
Well
one.
done, young man. You are correct. It's only
Yes.
133 miles, or 134 miles. The car takes 2 hours 44. There are no roads going sideways, horizontally in the UK.
Okay.
So that's 2 hours 44. The train, 4 hours 23. The bus, 7 hours. 7 hours to get from one awful
Probably can
part.
go for £1 though.
Yeah, well, hopefully, I want to go for a
A
pound.
megabus.
If you're a pensioner, you've got time on your hands, why not do it? Well done. You win our top prize of a weekend bus trip between
Yay.
Hartlepool and Sellafield via the bus with a free pasty and enough money for a Coke or a cup of tea at the service station on the way. I hope that's
Ooh,
you
nice.
happy.